Mike sat at the bar nursing his drink, staring at the ice as it melted into the amber liquid. His friend, Jake, slid into the seat next to him, noticing the quiet look on Mike's face. "You okay, man?" Jake asked, signaling to the bartender for a beer. Mike sighed. "It's Jess. I don't know what's going on anymore. We argue about the smallest things. And it feels like, I don't know, like we're drifting." Jake nodded, taking a sip of his drink. "You want some advice?" Mike hesitated. Part of him wanted to vent, but another part of him knew Jake had been in a solid relationship for years. Maybe he had something useful to say. "Yeah, sure." Jake leaned in. "Look, I'm no expert, but here's what I've learned. First thing, listen. And I mean really listen. Not just waiting for your turn to speak. Women, hell. Anyone want to feel heard. If Jess is upset, ask her what's bothering her and don't rush to fix it right away. Just let her talk. Most of the time, they just want to know you're paying attention." Mike nodded, thinking about the last argument he had with Jess. He realized that most of the time, he was so focused on defending himself or trying to come up with solutions, he barely listened to what she was really saying. "And second," Jake continued, "don't let the little things slide. A lot of guys, including me, think showing love is only about the big gestures, like buying gifts or planning romantic weekends. But it's the small, everyday things that matter more. Text her during the day just to check in. Help out around the house without being asked. Make her feel like a priority in your life, even when things are busy." Mike leaned back, reflecting on how distant he'd been lately. Work had been stressful, and he often came home exhausted, barely engaging with Jess beyond the usual "how was your day?" routine. Jake smiled, seeing the wheels turning in Mike's head. "And one more thing. Be vulnerable. I know. It's not easy for us guys to open up, but if you're feeling stressed, or if something's bothering you, tell her. Don't bottle it up. She'll appreciate you trusting her enough to share what's going on inside. It makes her feel closer to you." Mike sighed again, this time with a sense of clarity. "You're right. I haven't really been there for her lately. I've been distracted. And when we fight, I get defensive instead of just hearing her out." "That's normal, man," Jake said, clapping Mike on the back. "Relationships are work, but they're worth it. If Jess is the one, put in the effort to show her she matters. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up for her consistently." Mike smiled, feeling lighter already. "Thanks, Jake. I needed that." Jake grinned. "No problem. And hey, if you need more advice, you know where to find me. But just remember, relationships aren't about getting everything right, they're about being willing to keep learning." As Mike left the bar that night, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to put in the work, starting with really listening to Jess when he got home. The thought stayed with him: relationships aren't about perfection, they're about growth, patience, and showing up for the person you care about. He knew he wasn't done learning, but he was ready to try.